First of all, don't be surprised by that, because I told you George Bush was a fiscal socialist in the latter years of his regime. But let's not talk about Bush right now. He's history. Let's talk about Roberts. I'm going to tell you something that you're not going to hear anywhere else, that you must pay attention to. It's well known that Roberts, unfortunately for him, has suffered from epileptic seizures. Therefore, he has been on medication. Therefore, neurologists will tell you that medication used for seizure disorders, such as epilepsy, can introduce mental slowing, forgetfulness, and other cognitive problems. And if you look at Roberts' writings, you can see the cognitive dissociation in what he is saying. And I'll read it to you. It's 2 paragraphs. Try to focus. In the ruling, the Supreme Court decided that the most controversial provision, the individual mandate, which makes you buy health insurance, is valid as a tax, even though it is impermissible under the Constitution's Commerce Clause. However, it was not written as a tax. So Roberts wrote this. He said, in this case, however, it is reasonable to construe what Congress has done as increasing taxes on those who have a certain amount of income but choose to go without health insurance. Roberts continues and says, such legislation is within Congress's power to tax. But he's following from a point that is irrational. Who knows that Congress... Wait a minute. When did Congress say this was about increasing taxes? Answer, never. Congress never said this was about increasing taxes. Roberts then goes on in his irrationality and wrote this, quote, the federal government does not have the power to order people to buy health insurance. He says that. The federal government does have the power to impose a tax on those without health insurance. But this wasn't about a tax. It was not written as a tax. It was clearly never a tax. And then, to top it all off, to show you the cognitive dissonance in Roberts' brain that is going on, he concludes by saying that Congress exercised an authority it held to assess a tax rather than create any new taxing authority. Now, what does that mean? Can anyone figure that out? Congress exercised an authority it held to assess a tax rather than create any new taxing authority. What does that mean? This is a turning point in American history. We will never be the same again. This is the most left-wing piece of legislation that will change America forever. The law calls for an expansion of eligibility for Medicaid, which involves spending by the federal government and the states, which will bankrupt every state in the land. Every illegal alien in this country will cash in on this. Every bum in this country will now have gold-plated medical care. Every corrupt immigrant, whether it be from Russia or any other country that has already sacked this nation through Medicare and Medicare fraud, will now do so in spades.